Good morning, everyone. If you are watching, you are streaming here live with me, Layron Atkinson, on Wake the Hell Up. So, if you are here, shout a message, say happy Sunday morning to me while we go on ahead and start clapping in advance for what it is that we're about to share, what you're about to hear. I don't have my norms up, so I am trying to configure the settings. As you can see, I am on the road. So my goal today is to drop my Sunday morning message. I figured out how to get it across to you, and another means to make sure that on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock a.m. we are going to be right here on our stream with no disappointments, no disillusions. I'm trying to figure out where to look, so I'm sure right about now, if you're watching me instead of listening via podcast or listening via some other sort of app or via radio, you're probably not going to be able to really see what's going on. But this is one of the benefits to actually watching live. You get to see all of the quirks and understand all of the pieces that make some of the more live moments actually more beneficial for being a part of a very live audience. So good morning to you. Good morning to your household. Hope I'm not too loud, not going to scream, but I do want to wake you up in the way that we do. And I hope that after today, your life, your soul, your thought processes, your mind, your perceptions, your notions, all of those things as well are able to wake the hell. There we are. How is there? So if you're listening here and you're watching this, I was reading something. If you're on my Facebook group, you saw on Facebook Live, I did this message on this past Tuesday, possibly Wednesday, and it was entitled, I'm Not Able. And that's the same theme I'm calling this morning. I'm not able. If you're here in the Washington, D.C. area this morning at 10 o'clock a.m., I'm going to be at another level. That's 8839 Walker Mill Road in Capitol Heights, Maryland. That's in PG County. So that's where I'm going to be. You guys want to skip over there and make sure at 10 a.m. that's where you're going to be. You can actually hear this message preached live and in living color and not talked and told. You can have the whole shebang, because today is going to be one of those days that are going to be life-changing and impacting from beginning to end. So in Genesis chapter 4, verse 8, it says, And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. And the Lord said to Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What have you done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which has opened up her mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. Now when you till the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto you her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, My punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, and it shall come to pass, every one that findeth me shall slay me. I was looking at that verse, and I saw a very short narrative concerning the life of Abel, what transpired with Abel, much shorter after Abel gives his offering and after Abel gives what is genuinely his to offer, what is naturally his to offer. And I thought about Cain's message, particularly his message from God. As a younger brother myself to an older sibling, I recognize that sometimes with an older sibling and sometimes on the younger sibling, the dysfunction, sometimes it follows the generation before, having certain issues and challenges like Adam and Eve had to come from Eden, having to build a family in a space that they never planned to build a family in a land they never planned to build a family in, trying to figure it out in spaces they never had to figure it out in before, and Cain being much older and exposed to things that Abel was not exposed to. And when he comes along, he's a sign of happiness and hope. He's a sign of a newness, a freshness perhaps, and this attention is taking the attentions off of other issues that are already present prior to him even getting there. And so Cain has become a certain answer or a certain resolve or a certain salvage. And so as Cain gets older, he's starting to notice mommy's stomach is getting larger again. And so he misses the processes before. When he is now having those moments as a child, he just realizes that we're happy and people are smiling and people are joyous, and he's not exposed to many of the other things. When Abel comes along, however, his mom's belly's starting to get larger, bigger, and out pops this other child that needs an explanation that looks like him, that's a male like him. And now he gets to watch and see all of the things that he never saw with himself because he physically was there and is perhaps too old to remember. And now everything Abel does is cute, it's amazing, it's special, it's adorable. And so now he has to reconcile with why, in fact, everyone around is celebrating his younger brother, not remembering when it was his time at first that these all were things that happened and transpired with him as well. And so automatically he's forced to have to say that this brother is his best friend, that he loves his little brother. He has to now take his brother with him, and perhaps this little brother is a hindrance to his own social life because now he can't go unless his little brother goes. He can't spend the night unless his little brother spends the night. His brother says, I want to go, now you have to go. And so the challenge is oftentimes of carrying that weight that realizes that a younger brother can be a burden to an older brother, to someone older who sees it in that light or sees it in that manner and just has to force, or by force, you have to accept a role versus a younger brother coming into this situation. He comes into a family that is already made. He comes in thinking that this has to be my friend. This is the person that I look up to, or this is the person that I respect. And sometimes there are sibling rivalries. And perhaps if you're watching this and you don't understand what I'm talking about, then thank the Lord that you are unclear, and may you ever stay. But there are some of those that can't even understand a certain sibling or don't understand each other. And even though you grew up in the same house, in the same neighborhood, went to the same schools, had the same experiences, their narrative is entirely different than yours. And many times they don't know how to grapple with that conflict, because the part of them that strongly loves you is also this part of them also that strongly holds some resistance towards you for being a part of something that you had no control over. When I look at Cain and Abel's conversation, I look at Cain and conversation, their interaction, their last and final interaction, because he is uncomfortable, he is unclear, and he is unconcerned with the actions that has happened between him and God, because his offering to God was unacceptable just a few verses earlier. It had nothing to do with Cain. However, Cain's argument, or Cain's issue, or God's issue with Cain and Cain's offering, his presentation, had nothing to do with Abel. Abel's presentation, his representation, his gifting had nothing to do with Cain. But as you see a few verses later, you see that Cain is now talking with Abel, his brother, in verse 8. And as a result of this conversation, Cain now exacts his anger out on Abel for something that Abel never had anything to do with. The reason I titled this message, I'm Not Able, is because there are those of you that have situations and scenarios, and perhaps there are those around that are very unclear as to what these type rivalries look like, and what type of vengeance that can spark, and what they cause, what they create, what they have created, where they've gone, where they go. The magnitude that undealt with rage and anger that is displaced and oftentimes misplaced will do. They will physically kill you if they can. If they cannot physically kill you, they will do everything in their power to try and kill your character and your name, because they're clear that they share your last name, your bloodline, your DNA, and perhaps if not even in your own bloodline, in the area that you work, the areas that you dominate, the areas that you're a leader in. What Cain specifically does, and what they go after, this spirit of Cain, they are after influence, they were after leadership, and they specifically enjoy going after areas that they know they benefit from by having a certain closeness to those who are called into effectuate an area of change that they're not necessarily called to, but that they are angry about, envious about. Many times we can think we're dealing with jealousy, and there's a difference in jealousy and anger. Jealousy just wants what you want. They want what you have. Envy wants to remove you, needs to remove you, and will kill you to be who you are. And so Cain is not just jealous. Cain wants to remove him. And so you see the psychology of Cain being revealed in what he does to Abel. He doesn't want to do anything that Abel did. He is not interested in doing anything that Abel did. What he is interested in specifically is stopping Abel from being effective, and from Abel getting answers that he is unable to get from God. And so in so doing that, you see my camera shifting, so you see me moving. I'm going to try to help it. And so what he's interested in doing is he's interested in breaking a bond that is between Abel and God. You have to be so careful, even those who are in leadership, and not just in ministry, and in your workplace, in healthcare, in hospitality. in working in law, working in the criminal division, that there are people that are intimidated by your leadership, not because you're intimidating to them, but because they're intimidated parties. And the same issues they have with you are the same issues they will have with other parties. You have to be able to recognize that spirit of Cain and recognize also that Cain is Cain because Cain has decided to be Cain. Cain wants to be Cain. Cain enjoys being Cain. And that Cain would be Cain even if you were not able to be Abel. The reason that I'm talking and speaking this message is because I was upset with Abel. I was upset with Abel for even talking to Cain. I was upset with Abel for even engaging in conversations with Cain. Because when others don't recognize, others that you tried to warn or explain or express to, are not able to recognize the prowess of Cain, the appetite of Cain, the psychology of Cain, the psychiatry of Cain. If they're not able to recognize it, they would almost think that you're crazy for trying to explain crazy and what's crazy about crazy and how crazy it is for them to even understand how crazy it is, unless they have dealt with someone just as crazy in their line as well too, for them to just fully understand how far a person that is jealous of you was jealous of you and has only got close to you because they needed you by their side to validate their position, validate their rationale, validate their psychology, and validate even the twisted stories that they will give and the narratives that they needed to use against you in order to break down your ability to feed those who you are called to feed. This is the original narrative with Cain and Abel. This is the original narrative with the first family. And so those of you that are dealing with this in your bloodline, even the bloodline of your professional careers, you're dealing with those in your sisterhood, dealing with those in your brotherhood. We'll take another day and deal with those dealing with bad mamas and bad daddies, but to deal with bad brotherhood. This was the first murder. And this is in no defense of Cain, because sometimes Cains don't even realize how far they have gone and how far they will go, because there's also a protective nature in Cain as well. The protective nature in certain Cains is they are protecting and as loving as they are damaging. And so they can learn to professionally apologize to you over and over again, and will only come to you in the name of pretentious apologies, in the name of a pretentious I'm sorry, pretending to respect you just to get your attention so that they could disrespect you again. One of the healthiest things that you can do, and one of the most healthiest things that you can do, that is opposite of what Abel did in verse 8 of Genesis chapter 4. And that is to free yourself from certain conversations with Cain. Don't talk to Cain. If you're hashtagging, hashtag that. Don't talk to Cain. There are certain brothers that you just can't talk to, period. It is hazardous to your health. It is hazardous to your environment. It is poisonous to you, poisonous to your career, poisonous to what you're productive of, and poisonous to what you can produce. Every time it's time for you to move forward, you'll see someone trying to drag you back into a past that they've created, a reality that was never real. And the moment you don't pay attention to it, the same parties and the same persons that are so troublesome will create the same problem of yesterday. You can see that in the pattern of what he decided to give. I don't have as much time to give to you today as I typically would, because on Sunday mornings, I want to at least try to give you a 30 minutes, and then when it's a pull on it, we can extend and go even further. But it makes you all the more reason have to come back for more and listen and hear what it is that we've got to share and say. I want you to be clear, and I want you to understand that there are those parties that are after you, each and every person that is gifted, that is talented, skilled, that is called, that is creative, that is anointed, that can, that will, that do, that are powerful, that are influencers, that are influential, that are changers, that are trailblazers. You really don't know that what you have is really what you have until you have someone on the outside that is willing to kill you for it, willing to remove you for it, willing to fight you for it, lie on you for it, mistake you for it, not even just critique you for it, but kill you for it. That is a confirmation to you, and it's almost greater than and better than prophecy. What you don't need is the new person to prophesy to you. What you need at a certain time is a Cain, and to know that if what you were doing was ineffective, you wouldn't have these brothers and sisters coming at you like that. How fast they went from bro you to now they don't know you. How fast it goes from sis you to how quickly now they dismiss you. You have to be clear that those titles mean something. Those roles mean something. And those who have been that to you are those who are that to you. And those who are that to you are those who have been that to you. And you're welcome. I want you to wake the hell up to the notion that there's some things that if you're going to be able to produce and have the family, have the children, and be faithful to the flock you've been assigned to, just as Abel was, that means that someone else had to now tend to the flock and tend to the assignment he was on. Because sometimes trying to be nice to people that you know are trying to kill you is exactly what caused your death. Trying to go to fellowships and know that it was that same fellowship that broke you, in the same place that was in there, and you're trying to believe God in a space, in a place that has already shown you that that is not your place, that is not your space, that is not your home. And you'd rather instead pretend to go to a home that has done nothing, that left you homeless, and you still haven't even decided to, at least bare minimum, for the sake of your own psyche, to go homeless. And you're welcome. These are notions that you need to wake up to, that if you're going to be productive. I was upset with Abel because Abel decided to die prematurely and to die early because he was so pretentious and so not prepared to tell Cain, I'm not talking to you because you and I being in the same space is not good. You're trying to kill me. I want you to practice a few new abilities. And I only have a few moments to give it, so I can't delve into them as much. But there are new abilities that you need to have. One of those new abilities, and you're going to remember this from this book, Abilities, Abel, because I'm not going to be able to hold conversations with those who I know I cannot hold conversations with. I'm not able to do that. I am not able to make myself uncomfortable to make a Cain comfortable. I'm not able to do that. I'm not able to engage in conversations and be remanded or commanded or expected to be quiet concerning any form of assassination, whether that be character assassination, brand assassination, name assassination, that is associated with a Cain, with a person that I consider to be a Cain in my life. And I am not able to hold my peace and be silent while so many loud things are going to determine and to go against doors that could open, monies that could be made. I see that as violent. I see that as attacking, not from what they did on my end, but what I would be helping to do by being a silent accomplice to my own assassination's attempt to try and kill me. I will be that person to represent myself and advocate myself in the stead of each and every party that chooses not to advocate me. Those same parties that I have helped, those same parties that I have assisted, those same parties who have accepted my money, my gifts, my talents, abilities, my care, my concern, and that know me personally, that have allowed someone like Cain that has my bloodline or that has some form of history with me that has been twisted to fit a narrative that I was never a part of nor in, that I no longer have the courtesy to even know, understand, or defend myself again. It has become my policy, my procedure, and now my practice to make sure that I am not able to hear matters of that sort and not defend myself for myself should I feel that the parties that want or need that information need that type of information. These are abilities that you need to protect, not you and yourself and your psyche, but also your gift and the flock and those that are called to hear what it is that you've been called and assigned to do. Whether you're called to help those in your communities that are homeless, there will be a Cain that'll come up with you that wants to be a community activist. It'll be those parties that will find everything slanderous that have nothing to do with filling the parties or filling the bellies of those who are starving, who you do have a compassion to eat. Maybe what they're saying is true. Maybe what they're saying is false. But what you're doing in feeding the community has nothing to do with any of those other alternative issues that Cain is raising up, simply because Cain is jealous. Cain is envious. You don't see Abel attacking Cain. You see Abel having a conversation and dying. Some of your social careers and movements have been hindered so because some of the same people and same parties that you've helped have become some of the same individuals that have intentionally gone against you. But I want you to see the very power and beauty of it. I want you to allow that now to bring you out of isolation and bring you out of silence and bring you into another part of your purpose and another part of your passion. It is a newest ability to keep persons like you, other Abels, alive. Not to become like Cain, because Cain became Cain to an Abel. I want you to be able to remain able, but to be able to remain clear. You have to know as an Abel when to take the things you learned through Cain, by Cain, with Cain, and what you had to do to stay alive until Cain decided to walk away or to go away, or till Cain realized that you had to find someone else to play with. Abel needs to understand that he can learn a few new abilities. And that is, you need to learn, if not even how to play offense, play defense. Do anything aside from play dead, because if you play dead long enough, sooner or later you'll be dead. And you're welcome. That's a moment to sow, to give, to contribute, because these are blessing you. These are nuggets. These moments here are moments where I want you to take, I want you to mull them over, and I want you to figure out what things are going to matter futuristically and how beneficial are you going to be. When someone realizes what you're called to do is very different than what they were called to do, and what you're called to do perhaps may be what they wanted to do, or what they thought to do, and what they were created to do, or what they are doing is very different than what they thought they should have been doing, would have been doing. And not only have you never heard the words that you've heard from your parents be said to you in accordance to our text in Genesis, or Genesis, the book of origins and beginnings. Not only have you not heard that, but you have now also heard that book also uttered the very first time for God to say to Abel for the very first time in your family line that he respects his offering. He didn't respect his father's because he had to go back and fix it and go and slay the badger, and we had to do all of those things after his father gives him plants. You have Cain trying to give the same type of offering his father tried to give a few chapters earlier, a few verses earlier, and you now see him trying to repeat the same mistake and say, now God, accept this in another form from me. And he says no. And the first you see to get it right was Abel. Some of you are dealing with that type jealousy because you were the first to ever get it right on your jobs, in your communities, in your homes, with your children. You didn't raise them like you were raised or like things were raised around you. You raised them different. You wanted to give them different or better. You taught your sons differently. You didn't tell them that they had to be just basketball stars or basketball players, but you instilled values and principles in them, taught them how to clean up behind themselves, how to be proper, etc. You didn't tell your daughters it was okay to start dancing any kind of way and shaking any old kind of way. You let them have fun, but you also had balance and you had principles. You didn't tell them that going to church every Sunday and not doing their homework was acceptable. You didn't let them be strange and let them come up with all types of social issues, etc., because of your faith decisions. But you gave them a healthy balance and taught them the benefit of relationship. And congratulations to those who have made that decisions. As a result of those things in these conversations, there are people that will be envious and jealous of you for reasons that have nothing to do with how much you make. You could have no job, no money. They're jealous and will be envious just because you're smiling, because you're happy, because you chose to go another way and decided not to be as dysfunctional, as broken as the parties that were broken by the same things that didn't break you, but you used those very self-same things to make you and to build you and to give you drive and to give you purpose and to help other people. This has been your Wake the Hell Up this morning. To each and every person. Oh, thank you, Jesus. He's able to keep my phone from falling while I finish this broadcast. Thank you. While you're doing that, I'm getting ready to go preach this message live, and I'll probably do it on YouTube. So if you're not on Facebook Live, I'll do it on Facebook Live. I'll be doing this message live. I am just not able. I don't know where I'm looking, so I'm going to look around before I end this broadcast because I don't know where I'm supposed to look here. I've got this phone a different way. But if you're watching, if you're listening by podcast, you need to make sure that you come on YouTube and that you follow us on Sunday mornings if you want to see all of these live bloopers, hashtag and you're welcome. You're going to be there and you get to see these whenever I'm on the road and traveling. So I want you to do that. Thank you for YouTube living with us this morning. I hope this message has been a tremendous blessing to you. If it has, I don't want you to sow. I want you to give something. Our givers and our sowers and all of those people like that, whatever it is that you feel comfortable doing, I want you to do that. Our Cash App is hashtag is and you're welcome, a little money sign and you're welcome. Our PayPal is and you are welcome at Gmail if you want to PayPal. Our Venmo information is also up. All of that is and you're welcome. Our flyer information, we'll have our information posted right down in our comment section for all of those who want to give something, just to say thank you for this morning's message on Wake the Hell Up. I hope this has woken the hell up in you, and I hope you realize that there are some things in you, around you, that just need you to strike a match, grab a piece of gasoline, toss it on it, and burn up all convictions that you have about doing what you need to do to stay alive. Thank you for waking the hell up with LaRon Atkinson. I'm here, and I'm going to be back next Sunday at same time, at the same place, at the same or different pace. As a matter of fact, I'll be back home in Florida. All right, if you're in the DMV, you need to meet me, 8839 Walker Mill Road. That's where I'm going to be. Another Level Church is where I'm getting ready to be, 10 o'clock this morning. Be there and be square. I'm already ready. Just got to change my shirt. God bless and goodbye.